Commander Zixthala stood on the bridge of the dominant clarity and watched the endless stars through the main viewing screen. The Kethver fleet had been traveling through this empty part of space for 3 months now. 12 ships moved together in perfect formation, their sensors constantly scanning for anything interesting. This was routine work, but Zixthala never got tired of seeing new things in the galaxy. "Commander, I am getting something strange on the sensors," called Senior Sensor Technician Velkar from his station. His forearms moved quickly across the control panels, and his large eyes focused intently on the readings. Zixthala walked over to look at the sensor display. "What kind of strange?" "An energy signature that does not match anything in our database. The computer cannot identify the power source or the materials being used." Velkar's voice carried a note of excitement. In 30 years of deep space exploration, finding something completely unknown was rare. The sensor screen showed a collection of dots and lines that meant nothing to most people. But to trained officers like Zixthala, they told a story. Something was out there, moving through space with purpose. It was not a natural object like an asteroid or comet. This was definitely artificial. "How far away?" Zixthala asked. "Approximately 4 light hours from our current position. Whatever it is, it appears to be moving through the asteroid field in the 3rd orbital zone of this system." Zixthala nodded. "Set course to intercept. Send word to all ships in the fleet to maintain formation and prepare scanning equipment. This could be our first contact with a new species." The Kethver had discovered 47 different intelligent species during their centuries of space travel. Each discovery was important and required careful handling. The Galactic Council had strict rules about first contact situations. Zixthala had followed these rules many times before. As the fleet moved closer, the sensors began picking up more details. The unknown object was definitely a spacecraft. It moved too smoothly and precisely to be anything else. But its design was unlike anything they had seen before. "Visual contact established," announced the communications officer. The main screen changed to show the actual spacecraft. Zixthala stared at it in surprise. The ship was smaller than most vessels capable of interstellar travel, but it moved through the dangerous asteroid field like it was empty space. Its hull was dark and angular, with smooth curves that seemed to flow from one section to another. No visible weapons or defensive systems could be seen. Yet something about the ship suggested was not helpless. "I have never seen architecture like this," said Science Officer Dralvin, joining them at the sensor station. "The proportions are all wrong for any known species. And look at how efficiently it moves. The power requirements for that kind of precision flying should be enormous, but the energy output is remarkably low." Zixthala studied the ship more carefully. Dralvin was right. The unknown vessel was performing maneuvers that would challenge even their best pilots, but it seemed to do so without effort. Either this species had developed incredible piloting skills, or their technology was far more advanced than it appeared. "Any response to our standard greeting signals?" she asked. "Nothing yet, Commander. I have sent the basic mathematical sequences and universal constants in 17 different formats. The ship has not replied to any of them. This was not unusual. Many species needed time to analyze new communication methods." Zixthala was patient. First contact was always delicate work. Keep trying different approaches. In the meantime, continue detailed scans of their vessel. I want to know everything we can learn about their technology and capabilities." Velkar worked at his station for several more minutes, running every type of scan the fleet's sensors could manage. Gradually, a more complete picture began to emerge. "Commander, this is very interesting. The hull appears to be made from some kind of composite material I cannot identify. The energy systems are definitely fusion-based, but they operate at efficiency levels that should not be possible with current technology. And there is something else." "What?" "Deep in their power signature, There is a quantum resonance pattern. I have run it against our entire database of known species. Velkar paused and looked up at Zixthala with an expression of confusion. The computer says this pattern matches theoretical models for a species called humans. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew that name, even if they had never seen a human before. Humans were legends, old stories told by traders and explorers. Some said they were primitive beings who lived on a single world far away. Others claimed they had destroyed themselves long ago. A few insisted they had never existed at all. That cannot be correct, said Dralvin. Humans are barely capable of chemical rockets, according to the last survey data. That was filed over 200 years ago. Zixthala felt a cold feeling in her stomach. Run the scan again. Check the pattern-matching algorithms for errors. Velkar worked quickly, but his results remained the same. No errors, Commander. The quantum resonance pattern is definitely consistent with human technology, but that should be impossible. The unknown ship continued moving through the asteroid field, unaware that its presence had created a crisis on the Kethver Bridge. If this vessel really belonged to humans, then everything the galaxy thought it knew about this species was wrong. Contact the Galactic Intelligence Archive, Zixthala ordered. Request all available information on human technological development. Mark it as priority urgent. Yes, Commander. Zixthala stared at the mysterious ship on the viewing screen. It looked so small and harmless, but if it really was human-made, then they were looking at technology that should not exist. The implications were staggering. Either the galactic databases contained massive errors, or humanity had been hiding their true capabilities for centuries. Commander, called the communications officer. I am receiving a response from the Galactic Archives. They are transmitting all available data on humans now. Put it on my personal screen. Zixthala read through the files quickly. Most of the information was old and contradictory. Early surveys described humans as an aggressive, but primitive species confined to one world. Later reports suggested they had developed nuclear weapons and possibly destroyed themselves. The most recent entry was over 200 years. Old and listed humans as a pre-contact civilization of no immediate concern. None of the official records mentioned anything about advanced space travel or technology, like what they were observing now. But buried deep in the classified sections, Zixthala found a few disturbing notes. References to unusual human adaptability and dangerous rates of technological progression appeared in several reports before being marked as unsubstantiated. Commander, the unknown vessel is changing course, announced the helm officer. It appears to be leaving the asteroid field and heading deeper into the system. Zixthala made a decision. Follow at a safe distance. Continue monitoring their communications and energy patterns, and prepare a detailed report for Fleet Command. We may have just discovered something that changes everything we know about the galaxy. As the Kethver fleet shadowed the mysterious human vessel, none of them realized that they were about to witness the emergence of a species that had been hiding in plain sight for centuries, developing in secret and preparing for the day when they would take their place among the stars on their own terms. The news about the human vessel spread through the fleet within hours. Every ship captain wanted to know how this was possible. Zixthala found herself answering the same questions over and over again through secure communication channels. Are you certain the sensors are working correctly? Asked Captain Morthic from the heavy cruiser Resolute Strike. This makes no sense according to everything we know about human development. I have run full diagnostics on all sensor systems 3 times, Zixthala replied. The readings are accurate. We are following a ship built by humans, and its technology is far beyond what should be possible for their species. Science Officer Dralvin had been working non-stop since the discovery, analyzing every piece of data they could gather about the mysterious vessel. His findings were becoming more disturbing by the hour. Commander, I need to show you something. he said, approaching her command chair with a portable data screen. I have been comparing the human ship's performance with our own fleet capabilities. Zixthal looked at the technical readouts. Even with her limited engineering background, the numbers were impressive. Explain this to me in simple terms. Their fusion drive operates at an efficiency rating of 94%. Our most advanced drives barely reach 78% efficiency. Their hull materials are absorbing and redirecting sensor scans in ways that suggest molecular-level engineering. We can barely detect them unless we use active scanning at maximum power. What does that mean for their technological level? Dralvin hesitated before answering. Based on these readings, human technology is at least 300 years ahead of where it should be according to our databases. Possibly more. Zixthela felt that cold feeling in her stomach getting worse. How is that possible? Species do not just skip centuries of natural technological development. I do not know, Commander. But there is something else. I have been analyzing the ship's movement patterns and energy usage. This vessel appears to be designed for long-range independent operation. It carries no external fuel tanks, no supply pods, and no escort vessels. Everything needed for extended space travel is built into that one small ship. This was perhaps the most troubling discovery yet. Every other spacefaring species in the galaxy required massive support systems for interstellar travel. Even the Kethver, who were considered masters of space exploration, needed entire fleets to support long-range missions. The idea that humans had solved these fundamental problems was almost impossible to believe. Commander, interrupted Communications Officer Yelvar. I am receiving an urgent transmission from Galactic Intelligence Command. They want to speak with you directly. The main screen changed to show Admiral Vex Talon, one of the highest-ranking intelligence officers in the Kethver Fleet Command. His scaled face looked grim. Commander Zixthela, I understand you have encountered a vessel of unknown origin that may be connected to the human species. That is correct, Admiral. We have confirmed quantum resonance patterns consistent with human technology, but the capabilities we are observing should not be possible. Admiral Vex Talon was quiet for a long moment. Commander, I am going to share some classified information with you. What I tell you must not leave your bridge crew. Zixthela straightened in her command chair. Understood, Admiral. 25 years ago, a deep space monitoring station picked up unusual energy signatures near the edge of human space. The readings suggested advanced propulsion technology, but when investigation teams arrived, they found nothing. This happened several more times over the following years. Each time, the signatures disappeared before they could be properly analyzed. What did intelligence conclude? The official report stated that the readings were probably sensor errors or natural phenomena. But some of us suspected something else was happening. We began to think that humans might be more advanced than they appeared, and that they were deliberately hiding their true capabilities. Zixthela processed this information. Why was this not included in the regular databases? Because we had no proof, and the political implications were too dangerous. If humans were secretly developing advanced technology, it could destabilize the entire galactic balance of power. The Council decided it was better to maintain the official position that humans were primitive until we had definitive evidence. And now we have that evidence. Yes, Commander. I need you to maintain visual contact with that vessel, but do not attempt direct communication yet. I am dispatching additional ships to your location. We need to understand what we are dealing with before we make any hasty decisions. After the transmission ended, Zixthela sat in her command chair and thought about what this all meant. If humans had been secretly developing advanced technology for decades or centuries, then they had successfully fooled the entire galactic community. This suggested a level of coordination and planning that was almost frightening. Commander, called Velkar from his sensor station. The human vessel is approaching the dead system at the edge of this sector, the one that was strip-mined by the hegemony 50 years ago. This was another puzzle piece that did not fit. The Kethver had thoroughly surveyed that system decades ago. Every planet had been scanned, every asteroid belt had been searched, and every useful resource had been extracted. There was nothing left there of any value. Why would they go to a dead system? Asked Dralvin. Maybe they know something we do not, Zixthala replied. Continue monitoring their course and destination. As the hours passed, more disturbing information came to light. The communications team had managed to decode some of the low-level transmissions from the human vessel. The language was definitely human, but it contained technical terms and concepts that suggested a deep understanding of advanced physics and engineering. They are discussing something called quantum resonance mining, reported Yelvar. I cannot find any reference to this technology in our databases. What about their destination coordinates? Are they heading for anything specific in that dead system? Yes, Commander. They appear to be targeting the fourth planet, which was completely stripped of all valuable minerals during the mining operation. According to our records, it is nothing more than bare rock now. Zixthala made a decision that would have consequences she could not imagine. Prepare a stealth probe. I want to know what they find on that planet. Commander, that could be considered an act of espionage against an unknown species. They are in territory claimed by the Kethver hegemony. We have every right to monitor their activities. But even as she said this, Zixthala wondered if that was really true. If humans were as advanced as they appeared to be, traditional concepts of territorial claims might not apply. The probe was launched several hours later, using passive sensors to avoid detection. It would take time to reach the dead system, but eventually, they would learn what the humans were really doing there. As Zixthala watched the human vessel disappear into the distance, she realized that everything was about to change. The galaxy had been operating under the assumption that humans were a minor primitive species of no immediate concern. If that assumption was wrong, then the political and military balance of power that had maintained peace for centuries could collapse overnight. She began composing a preliminary report for Fleet Command, trying to find words to explain something that should not be possible. Somewhere out there in the darkness, humans had been quietly developing technology that could revolutionize space travel. They had been watching and learning while the rest of the galaxy ignored them. Now they were making their move, and nobody knew what they really wanted or what they were capable of achieving. The discovery of one small human ship had created more questions than answers, and Zixthala suspected that the truth, when it finally came to light, would be more shocking than anyone could imagine. The stealth probe reached the dead system 3 days later. Zixthala and her science team watched the data feed with growing amazement as the probe transmitted its findings back to the fleet. The human vessel had landed on the barren fourth planet, just as predicted. But what the humans were doing there defied all logical explanation. They had deployed some kind of mining equipment, but it was unlike anything in the Kethver databases. Commander, look at this, said Dralvin, pointing to the probe's sensor readings. They are not mining traditional materials. Their equipment appears to be extracting something from the planet's core itself. Zixthala studied the displays. The human mining operation was incredibly sophisticated. Instead of the massive industrial complexes that other species required for planetary resource extraction, the humans had deployed a small, elegant system that seemed to work at the molecular level. What could they possibly be mining from a planet that has been completely stripped? I am not certain, but their energy patterns suggest they are working with quantum-level materials. Perhaps they are extracting fundamental particles or energy states that our mining techniques cannot access. This was another piece of evidence that human technology had advanced far beyond what anyone thought possible. The Kethver had pioneered many mining techniques over the centuries, but they had never developed anything like what they were observing. How many humans are operating that equipment? Asked Discalo. Velkar checked his sensor readings. Based on life sign detection, I count 7 individuals. The same number that appear to be aboard their vessel. 7 people were accomplishing what would normally require hundreds of workers and massive support systems. Either humans had developed incredible automation technology, or their individual capabilities were far beyond those of other species. Over the following days, the probe continued to transmit data about the human operation. The more they learned, the more questions arose. The humans worked with an efficiency that seemed impossible. Their equipment required almost no maintenance, produced no waste products, and operated with an energy efficiency that challenged basic physics. But the most disturbing discovery came when Zixthala ordered the probe to intercept some of the humans' communications. The translation software struggled with many of the technical terms, but enough came through to paint a shocking picture. "Commander, you need to hear this," said Yelvar, playing back one of the intercepted transmissions. A human voice spoken clear. Precise tones. "Base camp, this is Extraction Team Alpha. We have successfully harvested quantum resonance crystals from depth markers 7 through 12. Estimated yield is 300% above projections. The hegemony mining operation left behind exactly what we were looking for." Another voice responded. Confirmed, Alpha Team. Transport vessel Wanderer's Edge shows all systems optimal. Prepare for departure in 6 hours. Next destination is the Androkin system for Phase 2 operations. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. The humans had not stumbled across this dead system by accident. They had come here specifically to harvest materials that the Kethver had not even known existed. "They knew," whispered Dralvin. "They knew this planet contained resources that our mining operations would leave behind. This was planned." Zixthala felt her world shifting beneath her feet. How could they know about resources that we cannot even detect? "Commander, there is more," said Volkar, his voice tight with worry. "I have been analyzing the patterns in their communication logs. References to multiple human vessels operating in different sectors, all conducting similar operations. This is not an isolated mission." The full scope of what they were witnessing began to become clear. Humans were not just more advanced than expected. They were conducting a systematic operation across multiple star systems, harvesting resources that other species could not access or did not even know existed. "Get me Admiral Vex Talon immediately," Zixthala ordered, when the Admiral's image appeared on the main screen. His expression was even more grim than before. "Commander, I have been reviewing your preliminary reports. This situation is escalating beyond our initial estimates. Admiral, the humans are not just technologically advanced. They appear to be conducting coordinated operations across multiple systems. This suggests a level of organization and planning that indicates they have been preparing for this for a very long time." "How long?" "Based on what we are observing, possibly decades or even centuries. Their technology is too sophisticated to have been developed recently, and their knowledge of galactic geography and resource distribution suggests they have been studying us for much longer than we realized." Admiral Vex Talon was quiet for several moments. "Commander, I am going to share something with you that may change your perspective on this situation. 3 years ago, our deep space monitoring network detected unusual quantum signatures near several remote systems. At the time, we thought they might be natural phenomena or sensor malfunctions. Now I believe we were detecting human vessels. How many systems? At least 15, possibly more. If our new analysis is correct, humans have been operating throughout this entire sector for years without our knowledge." Zixthala absorbed this information slowly. The idea that an entire species could conduct secret operations across vast areas of space without being detected challenged everything she knew about galactic surveillance and security. "What are your orders?" "Admiral? Continue monitoring but do not engage. I am assembling a task force to investigate this situation more thoroughly. In the meantime, I need you to prepare detailed technical reports on everything you have observed. The Galactic Council will need to see this evidence. After the Admiral's transmission ended, Zixthela walked to the main viewing port and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, humans were quietly reshaping the galaxy, while everyone else remained unaware. They had developed technology that seemed impossible, organized operations on a massive scale, and done it all while maintaining the illusion that they were primitive and harmless. "Commander," called Yelvar from his station. "The human vessel is preparing to depart. They have completed their mining operation." Zixthela returned to her command chair. "Track their departure vector. I want to know where they are going next." As the human ship lifted off from the dead planet and activated its drive systems, Zixthela made a decision that would change everything. Instead of simply following orders to monitor and report, she was going to attempt direct contact. "Yelvar, prepare a standard first contact communication package. Mathematical sequences, universal constants, and peaceful intentions. Transmitted on all frequencies as soon as they clear the planet's atmosphere." "Commander, are you certain about this?" Admiral Vextalon specifically said not to engage. "I am not engaging militarily. I am attempting diplomatic contact with what appears to be a highly advanced species. If we are right about their capabilities, then they already know we are here. Pretending otherwise serves no purpose." Dralvin looked up from his science station. "Commander, what if they see our contact attempt as a threat? Then we will find out just how advanced they really are," Zixthela replied. "But I suspect that a species capable of hiding their true nature for centuries is also capable of distinguishing between a military threat and a diplomatic overture." The transmission was sent as the human vessel reached orbit. Now there was nothing to do but wait and see if humanity was ready to reveal itself to the galaxy, or if they would continue their secret operations while pretending that this encounter had never happened. Either way, Zixthela knew that the age of human secrecy was coming to an end. The question was whether that end would come through peaceful contact or through conflict. The choice, she realized, might not be entirely up to her. The response came faster than anyone expected. Within 30 minutes of transmitting their first contact message, the Kethver fleet received a reply that left everyone speechless. "Greetings, Commander Zixthela of the Kethver vessel Dominant Clarity. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the human exploration vessel Wanderer's Edge. We have been monitoring your fleet's movements for the past week and appreciate your patience in allowing us to complete our mission without interference." The bridge fell silent. Not only had the humans responded immediately, that they knew Zixthela's name, her ship's designation, and they had been aware of the Kethver presence all along. "They have been watching us the entire time," whispered Velkar. Zixthela composed herself quickly and activated the communication system. "Captain Chun, this is Commander Zixthela. We are pleased to make contact with representatives of humanity. We were under the impression that your species had not yet achieved interstellar travel capabilities." There was a brief pause before Captain Chun responded, and when she did, there was unmistakable amusement in her voice. "Commander, humanity has been capable of interstellar travel for over 2 centuries. We have simply chosen to develop our capabilities quietly while maintaining minimal contact with galactic civilization. Why? Because we learned early that the galaxy has very specific ideas about how species should develop and integrate into galactic society. We decided to forge our own path rather than conform to existing expectations." This answer raised more questions than it answered, but before Zixthela could respond, Captain Chun continued. "Commander, I believe a face-to-face meeting would be beneficial for both our species. I propose we meet aboard a neutral location. Are you willing to deploy one of your emergency shelter stations as a meeting point?" Zixthela looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. Everyone was watching her, waiting to see how she would handle this unprecedented situation. Meeting with an unknown species always carried risks, but refusing could be seen as an act of hostility. I agree to a meeting, Captain Chun. We will deploy a shelter station at the midpoint between our vessels. Excellent. I will arrive in 2 hours with one companion. I suggest you bring your science officer, as there are technical matters we should discuss. The next 2 hours passed slowly. Zixthala had never been more nervous about a first contact situation. Usually, the Kethver held all the advantages in such meetings. They had superior technology, larger fleets, and extensive databases about the species they were contacting. This time, they were meeting with representatives of a species that had somehow hidden their true capabilities for centuries: the emergency. Shelter was a simple, prefabricated structure designed for rescue operations. It contained basic life support systems, communication equipment, and neutral meeting spaces. As Zixthala and Dralvin prepared to shovel over to the station, she wondered what they would find waiting for them. The human shuttle was already docked when they arrived. It was as sleek and advanced as their main vessel, with design features that seemed both functional and elegant. Zixthala had seen thousands of different spacecraft designs during her career, but human engineering had a distinctive aesthetic that was unlike anything else. Captain Sarah Chun was waiting in the main meeting room when they entered. She was smaller than most spacefaring species, but there was something about her presence that suggested confidence and capability. Her companion, introduced as Dr. James Morrison, appeared to be a scientist or engineer. Commander Zixthala, Science Officer Dralvin, welcome, Chun said, standing to greet them. Please, have a seat. We have much to discuss. As they settled around the simple table, Zixthala studied the two humans carefully. They seemed remarkably calm for representatives of a species making first contact with a superior military force. Captain Chun, I must ask directly, how long has humanity been capable of interstellar travel? Our first successful faster-than-light voyage was achieved in 2157. Which is about 230 years ago by your calendar. We have been exploring and mapping this region of the galaxy ever since. Dralvin leaned forward. That timeline matches some of the anomalous readings we have detected over the years. But why did you choose to remain hidden? Dr. Morrison answered this question. When we first achieved interstellar capability, we discovered that this region of space was already occupied by advanced civilizations. We spent several decades observing galactic society and studying its structure. And what did you conclude? That integration into existing galactic civilization would require us to abandon many of our natural approaches to exploration and development. The galactic model assumes that spacefaring species will join the Council, adopt standardized technologies, and follow established protocols for expansion and resource utilization. Captain Chun continued the explanation. Humanity decided that we preferred to develop our own methods. We focused on creating small, efficient, independent vessels capable of long-range operation without massive support systems. We developed mining and manufacturing techniques that allowed us to harvest resources that other species overlook or cannot access. The quantum resonance crystals, said Dralvin. Among other things, yes. While other species focus on traditional heavy elements and energy sources, we learn to work with quantum-level materials and dimensional energy states. This allows us to find valuable resources in locations that appear barren to conventional scanning methods. Zixthala was beginning to understand the scope of what humanity had achieved. You have been conducting secret operations throughout this entire sector for decades. Not secret, exactly. Discreet. We have been very careful to avoid interfering with other species' activities or claiming territory that is already occupied. We simply work in areas that others consider worthless. But why reveal yourselves now? Captain Chun smiled. Because we are ready to take our place in galactic society, but on our own terms. We are not asking to join the Galactic Council or adopt their standards. We are announcing our intention to operate as an independent spacefaring civilization. Dr. Morrison added, "We believe our approach to space exploration and resource utilization could be beneficial to other species as well. We are willing to share certain technologies with those who prove trustworthy." What kind of technologies? Efficient fusion drive systems, quantum-level material processing, sustainable life support for extended missions, and advanced sensor technologies for detecting previously unknown resources. Zixthala felt her mind reeling. The technologies being described could revolutionize space exploration for every species in the galaxy. But she also realized the political implications of what she was hearing. "Captain Chun, the Galactic Council will see your independent operations as a potential threat to established order. Your technological capabilities combined with your secretive development could be interpreted as preparation for military expansion. We understand that concern, Commander. That is why we chose to make contact with you, rather than attempting to remain hidden indefinitely. We hope that reasonable species like the Kethver can serve as intermediaries to help the galaxy understand our intentions, which are to explore, to learn, and to develop our understanding of the universe. We have no interest in conquest or political domination. We simply want the freedom to pursue our own path among the stars." As the meeting continued, Zixthala found herself in an impossible position. Everything she was learning about humanity suggested they were exactly what they claimed to be, an advanced but peaceful species that had chosen independence over integration. But she also knew that their capabilities would terrify many members of the Galactic Council. Captain Chun seemed to understand her dilemma. "Commander, we know this puts you in a difficult position. We are not asking you to advocate for us or take risks on our behalf. We simply ask that you report what you have observed accurately and allow the galaxy to make informed decisions about how to respond to our presence. And if the Council decides that your independence represents a threat, then we will deal with that situation when it arises. But we hope that rational beings will recognize the benefits of having humanity as an ally rather than forcing us to become an enemy." There was no threat in Captain Chun's words, but Zixthala could hear the underlying message clearly. Humanity had spent centuries developing their capabilities in secret. If forced into conflict, they would not be helpless. The meeting concluded with agreements for further communication and a promise from both sides to avoid any actions that could escalate tensions. As Zixthala returned to her ship, she realized that everything had changed. The galaxy was about to learn that it contained a species that had successfully hidden in plain sight for centuries, developing capabilities that could reshape interstellar civilization. The question was whether this revelation would lead to cooperation or conflict. Zixthala sat alone in her ready room, staring at the report she had been writing for the past 6 hours. Every word had been chosen carefully, but she knew that no amount of careful language could soften the impact of what she was about to tell the Galactic Council. Humanity existed. They were advanced beyond anything anyone had imagined. They had been operating throughout galactic space for centuries without being detected. And they were now ready to announce their presence to the galaxy. The communication panel chimed, interrupting her thoughts. Admiral Vextalon's image appeared on the screen, and his expression was more serious than she had ever seen it. "Commander, I have received your preliminary reports. I need confirmation that you are certain about these claims regarding human capabilities. Admiral, I have met with their representatives face to face. I have observed their technology in operation. Everything I have reported is accurate. Then we have a serious problem. I have been in contact with the Galactic Intelligence Council, and they are considering recommending immediate military action to neutralize this potential threat." Zixthala felt a cold shock run through her body. "Admiral, the humans have shown no hostile intentions. They have been operating peacefully for centuries. Commander, a species that can hide advanced technology for centuries and conduct secret operations across multiple sectors, represents an existential threat to galactic security. Their capabilities, combined with their secretive nature, make them unpredictable and potentially dangerous. But they chose to reveal themselves rather than remaining hidden. Doesn't that suggest peaceful intentions? Or it suggests they are confident enough in their capabilities to no longer fear discovery. Either way, the Council believes that immediate action is necessary before this situation spirals out of control. Zixthala realized she was at a crossroads that would determine not just her own future, but possibly the future of galactic civilization itself. Admiral, what if they are telling the truth about their intentions? What if they really do just want to pursue their own development without interfering with others? Commander, you are allowing personal contact with these beings to cloud your judgment. Your duty is to the Galactic Council and the established order that has maintained peace for centuries. And what if that established order is wrong? The question hung in the air between them for a long moment. Admiral Vextalon, his expression softened slightly. Commander, I understand your position, but we cannot take the risk that humanity represents a threat to everything we have built. After the transmission ended, Zixthala returned to her report. But now she faced an impossible choice. She could write a report that emphasized human capabilities and secretive development, which would almost certainly lead to military action. Or she could try to present humanity in a more favorable light, risking her own career and possibly enabling what others saw as a dangerous threat. Her door chimed, and Science Officer Dralvin entered. Commander, I have completed my technical analysis of human capabilities. What did you find? Their technology is remarkable, but it is clearly designed for exploration and resource gathering rather than military applications. Their ships are fast and efficient, but they carry minimal defensive systems and no obvious weapons. That could just mean their weapons are more advanced than we can detect. Possibly. But their entire design philosophy seems focused on doing more with less rather than building massive military capabilities. If they wanted to threaten galactic security, I believe they would have developed very different types of technology. Zixthala considered this analysis. What do you think we should do? I think we should give them a chance to prove their intentions before we assume the worst. A new communication signal interrupted their conversation. This time, it was Captain Chun calling from the Wanderer's Edge. Commander Zixthala, I hope I am not interrupting anything important. Not at all, Captain Chun. What can I do for you? I wanted to inform you that we have received word from our home system. Other human vessels operating in different sectors have also made contact with local governments and exploration fleets. Humanity is officially announcing its presence to the galaxy. This changed everything. If humans were making contact across multiple sectors simultaneously, then military action against one ship or one fleet would be pointless. Humanity was revealing itself on a galactic scale. Captain, why did you choose to reveal yourselves now, all at once? Because we realized that maintaining our secret was becoming impossible. Galactic sensor technology is advancing, and our operations were becoming harder to conceal. We decided it was better to control how our presence became known rather than wait to be discovered accidentally. And you are prepared for the possibility that some species will see you as a threat? We hope for peaceful coexistence, Commander. But we are not naive. We know that some will fear change and try to stop it through force. We are prepared for that possibility as well. There was something in Captain Chen's tone that suggested humanity's preparations went far beyond what they had revealed so far. Zixthala wondered just how many surprises the humans still had in reserve. Captain, what do you need from us? Time, Commander. Time for rational beings to study our actions and judge our intentions by what we do rather than by what they fear we might do. We believe that reasonable species will see the benefits of cooperation rather than the risks of conflict. After the conversation ended, Zixthala made her decision. She completed her report with full technical details about human capabilities. But she also included her personal assessment that humanity's intentions appeared peaceful and that their technology could benefit all species if properly shared. She knew this report might end her career, but she also knew it was the right thing to do. The response from the Galactic Council came within days. The debate had been intense, but ultimately, the decision was made to attempt diplomatic contact rather than military action. The fact that humans had revealed themselves across multiple sectors simultaneously had convinced many council members that military force would be ineffective. Anyway, Zixtala was assigned to lead the official first contact delegation. As her fleet prepared to travel to the human home system for formal diplomatic negotiations, she reflected on how much the galaxy had changed in just a few short weeks. The discovery of one small human vessel had led to the revelation that an entire species had been quietly developing alongside galactic civilization for centuries. They had chosen independence over integration, developed revolutionary technology, and proven that there are other ways to explore and colonize space. Captain Chun had been right about one thing. The galaxy was indeed about to become a much more interesting place. Whether that change would be for the better would depend on whether different species could learn to coexist despite having very different approaches to life. Among the stars. As the Wanderer's Edge departed for its next mission and the Kethver fleet prepared for the journey to human space, Zixtala realized that she had witnessed something historic. The age of human secrecy was ending, and the age of human participation in galactic civilization was beginning. The sensors had identified a human-made vessel, and the signal had indeed sparked chaos in the fleet. But it was the chaos of change, growth, and new possibilities. And for the first time in her long career, Zixtala found herself excited about what the future might bring. Humanity had hidden among the stars for centuries, preparing for the day when they would take their place in galactic society on their own terms. That day had finally arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again.